whole 6 months, they used to kept on figuring where will we get the next time to pay. But they got together the money and they paid, and that's the way 4 generations were born in that little Mickiewicz. By the way, Mickiewicz was a name. Those that read literature, there was in Poland there was a very famous writer and poet by the name Mickiewicz. That was the town. Named after the village named after him. There were two villages. They used to call it the big Mickiewicz and the small Mickiewicz. We lived in the small one. They were almost one near another. And the peasants, I was a kid, I remember very well, and the peasants used to come from the field and they sang songs. Some of them, they would have been, like we have here, teachers and other things, they probably would have been great singers. A lot of talent was lost, but their voices were wonderful. Folk songs, and they made their own instruments. They used to play on the harmonica, their own everything. And other things, the whistle that they played, they were really, you can say, very good musicians. But they were just natural musicians. We were 5 when my father went away, as I told you. He had my sister, then I was born. When he came back, about a year later, my sister Sadie was born. Then, about another 3.5 years, I believe, Irving, who's called Iche, was born. And then at the end of 1904, almost 1905, the Russian-Japanese War broke out. And my father was a reserve. He would have to go to the army. And he decided to go away to America, and he left my wife and my mother pregnant, and Sam was born already after my father left. And 2 children were born without my father being home. And it was a very hard life, and he left us in that village. And there was nothing for us to do there in that village. My mother decided to move out to the city in Nashville. And we waited until my father sent a few rubles, a few dollars, and we changed it into rubles. And we lived that way. When I was being in Mickiewicz in the village, when I was 5 years old, they took me to Nashville because I had to go to Cheder. There was no Cheder in Mickiewicz. There were no Jews. There was only one Vivod, and there was only one more Jew, an uncle to my father. Those that remember Yoshke, his son used to come to our house. And also Sylvia and Marty, remember when we went to Canada together to get to Glace Bay, we stopped off by Avremel on the way there. That was his father that lived in the same village with us. He wasn't a farmer, he was a blacksmith. He used to make the horses for the first. You got to understand that it was a very primitive life. The water you had to bring from the well about a block away. During the winter, it froze around the well, it froze so much that it's a miracle that we didn't get drowned, how slippery it was. It's only as they say, as people say, God saved us. And I still can't understand how we didn't fall in that, because and that house was during the winter, of course, it was cold. it's very often you have to chop up the ice from the door in order to get out. Otherwise, we couldn't open the door with so much ice on the door. At four, when I was, as I said, when I was 5 years, they took me to Meshvis and I went to Cheder and I stayed with my aunt, my mother, and my father's sister, who was a sister also to Sylvia's grandmother. Her name was Rive. Stayed there for about 2 years, I believe. I don't remember exactly. Once in a while on a Saturday, they used once in 2 weeks, they used to take me back home for Saad. And that I remember very well, and it's, those things you remember. One time the entire family, Mini and Sadie and Irving, got sick on scarlet fever. Instead of leaving me while I wasn't home, they shouldn't bring me home for that side, they brought me anyhow and I got sick. But it seems that we all got out of it. We got well, went to Cheder. The Rebbe that taught me in the Cheder happened to be the father-in-law to my aunt, Rive. And we lived together, and there I was the first, my first Rebbe was there. I remember even when my Rebbe died, came in one from Shul, he was a very old man, I don't know his age, and told to my aunt, that they call me upstairs. So he said, Rive, I'll have to go away. And it didn't take an hour and he died. How he felt it, I don't know. Other little things that my grandfather used to tell me once, while he had to pay for the 6 months for the house and field and everything, he didn't have no money. And he was one that you call a koidan of a chassid. He went away to the Rebbe and asked him, what can I do? I got to pay and I have no money. Rebbe heard him. I suppose maybe he gave him a ruble for it or something. He told him, go home, everything will be all right. He went home, and the next day when he had to go for a figure, he didn't feel good about it, but he couldn't help it, but he felt that if the Rebbe said it's good, then I suppose it will be all right. And he came there, one that had been filled with everything, with the milk and everything else. He didn't have no bookkeepers. The drunkard he was, he started into figure so much that he owed my grandfather money. He had to set my father because he used to, my grandfather and my father later on, used to bring from, when they went to the city, they used to bring for the porridge for the noblemen, from whom we got the house and the field and everything. They used to bring for him kerosene. And then they used to take a calf and kill it over there by sheikhet and bring it back. He used the part that the Jews don't use. And he used to give the rest, the other part he used to give to my grandfather for the work. And then during the winter we had meat. During the summer we never even, I don't think we ever tasted meat the entire summer, unless a chicken probably got sick. Otherwise we didn't. We lived on potatoes, bread. Bread of course we made ourselves. The flour was our own, from our own. And when my father went away to America, while being in Yeshvis, went from one rabbi to the other. Some rabbis taught only the ABC and the others a little more. My mother was a woman herself that loved education. She wanted me to go to school, to Rosh school, and I did go. I was there.